Okay, so we want to hear about the VajraYogini, what's the good stuff you prepared.
Okay, so as a Shakti priestess, tantric leader, I think that if there was just one goddess or one Buddha that I would want to teach, it would be VajraYogini, because she is the essence of all the Buddhas, and she is a Buddha for our time. So she's known as the Buddha for degenerate times. So a time where there's a lot of war, there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of hatred and a lot of bullshit going on, lust, anger, etc. And she is the Buddha that teaches us great transformation with that. And this is the main teaching from my teacher, really just taking the energy. And I think women especially, like, there's anger. We have anger towards being subjugated for thousands of years, or we have anger that we have so much hatred that we're actually fighting, we're creating wars in this world, and it's just sort of bottles up inside of us. And so as a feminist, I've been feeling that just sort of like anger building up, and I'm realizing that is like, that actually hurts me. I can't hold that. I can't hold that energy, because that doesn't create transformation. Actually, I have to find a way to let it go, but to feel it. So that anger is powerful energy that we can use to transform. And Vajrayogini teaches that beautifully. Okay, so I think the other thing that I've seen within Tibetan Buddhism, and I am a lineage holder from the Nyingma Vajrayana lineage, and my teacher's teacher was His Holiness Durjin Rinpoche. Same thing. Like, we can't deny that Tibetan Buddhism or Buddhism has, subjugated women, and my teacher would have been laughed at by His Holiness Durjin Rinpoche's colleagues per, what he said to her. He's Joy, my Rinpoche buddies would laugh at me for teaching a woman. Okay, so, but we're in a place where all of us have received these teachings or seeds of wisdom, and now we are in a place to share them. So it's really, really beautiful, and it's a powerful time. So I'm going to share actually Vajrayogini. I'm going to share my screen. And here's the beautiful goddess, Vajrayogini. And a lot of people would find this disturbing, this image disturbing. And I think that's part of, the tantric goddesses, is they're actually disturbing. And the thing that's cool in this is they literally shock us out of sleep states. So, as I say, she's known as the Buddha for degenerate times, our time. Her essence is great passion. It's a transcendent passion that is free of selfishness and illusion. So she works intently for the well-being of others and the destruction of ego clinging. She is ideally suited for people with strong passions. So I think it really fits into feminism and people that want to create peace on earth. So she provides a way to transform those passions into enlightened virtues. She is a meditation deity. So her practices include methods for preventing ordinary death or intermediate state bardo, which is the teachings of the death teachings, actually, for transforming mundane experiences into higher spiritual practice. So this is making our own life, our daily life, which is mundane, actually a spiritual practice. So she is often described as the ḍākiṇī, or we could say sky dancer, who is the essence of all the Buddhas. So like all the Buddhas are literally within her. She's the supreme deity in the Tantric pantheon. So Miranda Shaw, who's a scholar in this area, says that no male Buddha, including her divine consort Heruka, approaches her in metaphysical or practical import. Okay, so Hindu, Tibetan, and modern Shaktiism, which is what we teach, use use the goddess or this deity practice. This is a very high tantric practice. Some would say it's the highest, which is to intentionally create our own path, not some path that's dictated to us, towards our own liberation. So the symbols and language that we see here provide a toolkit for this method. So her practices are very direct. They're relatively easy and straightforward practices towards self-realization for modern people, busy modern people, not people up on the, them too, but, like these Buddhas, a lot of these Buddhas are a composite within her. So we see that she's standing on a male and female, we could say those are humans. They represent our ignorance. They represent the ignorance of humanity. So her naked appearance with skulls is often seen as shocking to the Western gaze, and that's part of the reason why these practices are secret. So this shocking visual is designed to support us in coming out of habitual patterns and limited mind constructs, the fact that we're separate in any way. So her head has 5 human skulls, and she wears a necklace of 50 skulls. So in Tantra, death is really part of the teachings. So my teacher would say, in every moment, death is in front of you. So like, how would we live our life if we actually have that as in the present? Think about that in the present moment. How would we live our life differently? So death in Tantra represents the impermanence or the transitory nature of life, literally the cycle of birth and death. So now this would be a much more appealing picture. Perhaps, in the Western world, we can think of her this way. She's a lot more easy to look at, right? So she teaches us to fully engage in the world of action. And this is very different from what we think is holy, like a monastic, living on, wearing a saffron robe, who also practice VajraYogini. So she teaches us to direct our energy towards inner transformation. So she's pictured here in the center of the fire. So that actually represents Shakti Kundalini. That is Shakti, the transformational energy that literally says, hey, wake up, wake up. So her countenance shows both erotic and fierce features in the fullness of bliss. So she's laughing, and she's also baring her fangs. So each aspect of VajraYogini's form and her mandala is designed for spiritual meaning. So her red colored body is the blaze of her inner fire, life itself, or spiritual transformation. And she's literally offering herself and as well as her wisdom. So her face represents that she has realized that all phenomenon are one, that we are all one. And we would call that the emptiness, or we would call that the womb of creation. So she's like the embodiment of non-dual Tantra. She's the embodiment, I believe, of modern Shaktism. So her arms represent the realization of 2 truths. Her eyes she has 3 eyes, represent the ability to see everything in the past, present, and the future. And of course, I think the 3rd eye represents the pineal gland, or when we activate that, we literally have insight. We have our clairvoyance, or we could call those the siddhas, or the superpowers that have been often dismissed as woo-woo. That's feminine intuition. Those are natural human abilities that have been suppressed. So she looks upward. So in Shaktism, we're looking upward towards ḍākiṇī land. So ḍākiṇī land would represent the place of peace, or Shambhala. This demonstrates her mastery over her inner and outer world. So she is the mistress of herself. And she inspires us to be the mistress or the masters of ourselves. So she leads followers to these attainments with her inspiration. So she carries a curved knife in her right hand. It shows her ability to cut away the delusions and the obstacles of all beings. So drinking the blood from her skull cup in her left hand symbolizes the experience of supreme bliss and the offering of herself to the benefit of all beings. So this is really what we're creating. This is her consort Heruka. Heruka represents the divine masculine who literally holds her and protects her. He represents the pure light of bliss and purification, actually. Purification, which I think is kind of what we're going through right now. We're purifying, we're looking at some of the things that don't work for us, our ego selves. So this is an example of, transformation. She's the embodiment of Tantra. She's the embodiment of transformation. This is about creating stimulating environments or stimulating visions to literally wake us up. So she is the embodiment of transformation, and the Buddha, the female Buddha for our time. And I believe that more and more we will see. We're experiencing awakening, all of humanity. So that is the teaching, that is the introduction to Vajrayogini from the Shakti tradition. In 2024, she's like my vision board for 2024. That's my vision, is Vajrayogini, because everything is in her. So thank you very much for being with me. Namaste. And we can stop the recording. Thank you.
We are actually not recording just for okay, I will stop.
Okay.